Can you hear me? Excellent. I'm Michelle Jaramillo. I'm the Director of Community Impact at the San Diego Foundation. I'd love to invite our esteemed panelists to join me upstage for our Q&A. While they're getting themselves settled, I thought we could maybe do a selfie all together. So if everybody could just kidding.
Oh.
Hi. I personally am so humbled, really. I think that's the word that I want to use, by the amazing work that you all are doing in your communities and the amazing work and change you're making for our community, our shared community. So I really, before we get into Q&A, I'd like to give you all a round of applause for the work that you're doing. So I get to pose a couple of questions to our panelists, and then we'll open it up for a quick Q&A, and then we'll talk a little bit more about what we can all do as we walk out of these doors today feeling inspired, what we can do differently or do more of in our communities to make San Diego an even more amazing place to live. I want to start with a question about leadership. A lot of people will tell you, or you're here, you need to do this to become a great leader. This is what you will need to accomplish in order to be a leader one day. I propose a different way of thinking about it. I think we're all leaders every day in everything that we do. And that can't ring more true for our three panelists today. You are indeed all great leaders today. In light of that, I wanted to ask you, what does leadership mean to you? What does great leadership look like? What does it feel like? When do you know you see it? And how does it manifest in San Diego today?
Okay.
Take it away.
All right. Thank you so much. I think that leadership is something that we see every day. We may not recognize it, but leadership is about taking initiative even when you may not be comfortable with what you're about to do. It sometimes involves taking initiative when no one else is doing so. I mean, so many times it's so difficult to take charge when there's so many other people who could, but honestly, if you feel strongly about an issue, you need to just rise forward and basically just take charge if that's what you need to do to make sure that that cause is fulfilled. I mean, if you're really passionate about something, you're gonna make that happen. So leadership is about initiative, and a lot of the times we probably don't even recognize great leaders among us. So, just keep an eye out, I guess.
Excellent. Panchito?
My definition of leadership is someone who is empowering a group of people towards a common goal. And my favorite theory of leadership, or the one that I like to live by, is servant leadership. And that's when you meet the needs of your follower, and then the follower will do the same for you. And then together you work towards a common purpose.
I think that's basically what Panchito just said. I tend to be an action-oriented person, and I feel that action with a group of not only just people that are similar to me, but a diverse group of people tend to make more innovative ideas and get those actions out there of kind of the projects like these two have been working on. Those innovative ideas started by someone doing something, even if they were scared to do it, didn't know if it would work out. They took that step, and I think that really is a great model, a great role model for other people who might be in that group that are also hidden leaders. So.
Thank you. So for anyone that's interested in the Cliff Notes, it's initiative, service, and fearlessness.
I'd say so.
Fair enough?
Yeah.
Cliff Notes, I like it.
Yeah. So second question. The work that you three do has a sort of distinct focus on vulnerable populations, the communities in our community that are most vulnerable and at risk. Why do you think it's important to engage these communities, to serve these communities, to work with these communities, to make change? What is it that about working with vulnerable populations drives you, motivates you? What do you see as the potential?
Okay.
You sit closest to me, so you.
Yes, that's fine. It's a good place to be. I think that what drives me the most about serving vulnerable populations is their potential. So basically a little bit of a backstory. My dad is from a really remote village in Nepal, and now he's grown up to be a professor in the US. And I used to help Bhutanese refugees in San Diego, and now some of them are the best community leaders that I know. So I mean, there's so much potential, and if we don't help those people, and nobody helps those people, their potential is going to be unrealized, and we're going to miss out on so much. So that's why it's really important to me to help those populations.
Exactly what Nitya said. We're ignoring these groups of people that are disadvantaged, and we don't allow them the opportunity to discover that talent and to just grow and become great leaders. I think that's why it's important to work with and try to provide access to all communities so that they have the same opportunity as everyone else.
Yeah, specifically for the population that I work with, a term that's used often is the hidden population. We kind of, to put it bluntly, we put our elders away. We put them in a home after. And for me, I grew up in a military family, and the people that I serve at Sunshine Care and other places, they're World War II veterans, and the women that men and women that defend the country, and for me to be able to give back to those people has just been it's humbling to me. And another thing is that those people were also leaders, and for me, to be able to learn their stories of how they helped out our community, those stories are being lost, and I've been able to learn those stories from the people through the interviews, and it's a lot more than just playing music for them. Like they come alive, they come alive again, and I get to learn about who they are as a person, and it goes back to what Nitya was saying about, being present in the moment when you're serving somebody. So.
It's awesome. Thank you so much to all three of you. We have just a couple of minutes left, but first of all, we have two mics on either side of the room up here. Please come and share your comments, your questions for any one of our panelists. And in the meantime, I also wanted to share that I forgot to mention, we are tweeting. So would love to invite you and ask that you tweet your comments, your questions, your impressions of today using the hashtag Future40SD, Future40SD. So do we have any questions, any comments? Please.
Probably. You can hear me?
Yeah.
I will repeat your question.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I actually have one towards Panchito. You were hitting the feed points, but I couldn't get them. Thank you.
Oh. So feed is find a passion, find a cause that you want to serve. Then E is educate yourself on the topic as much as you can. The second E was embrace your natural talents. And then the D was develop a career out of it.
Great.
Feed your soul.
We have a question over here. And we do have now we have a roving mic.
Probably don't need
Awesome.
the mic to hear me, to be honest, because I think it's kind of loud. But
We are recording the session, so that would be great.
Oh,
yeah.
cool. Thanks. So I have kind of a two-part question. One is, what were some of the biggest struggles you had getting your separate companies kind of going? What was the hardest parts about that path, starting that path? And the other is, how can we as a general population help get involved in your particular businesses?
I think that one of the biggest struggles I faced was just, people that told me that it was just too big. And I think that's one of the things that just annoys me the most, because I wanted to aim big. I worked on the smaller projects and I've worked on so many other things, but I wanted to aim big, and if it doesn't work out, then at least I accomplished something. So that was basically the biggest struggle, especially when it's someone that you know, or someone that's near and dear to you, and they tell you that, okay, maybe not necessarily discouraging, but just saying, maybe it will work out. I mean, those things do matter. So, you know, I guess it's all about just keeping on going forward, no matter what. As far as getting involved, you can go to our website, onestepprojects.org, or get in touch with me, and you can basically get involved that way. And I'd be happy to talk to you afterwards about getting involved as well. Thank you.
Right. So I was trying to remember the order of the questions. So one of the biggest challenges, well, I didn't start my own organization like Nitya. I went into one that was already established. But one of the biggest challenges was, one, believing in myself, that I could make a change. I was just an individual, or that an organization can transform a whole community. The second challenge is, I want to use a quote from one of my favorite philosophers, Cornel West, is, people are well adjusted to injustice. So when your mindset is already set on just graduate high school and then get straight to work just so you can help the family, and that's what you're stuck in, it's kind of hard to pull people out of that. And so changing people's perspectives can be a little hard if that's the way you've been living for several years. And the way you can get involved with BLCI is tutor. And you can come volunteer, you can come tutor for a day, you can attend our events. We're having an open house very soon, celebrate our 20 years. There's several ways you can contribute. Just like you said, we'll be here and we can give you contact information so you can get involved.
So the first part of your question, I think for me, what was also that self-confidence about how do you help someone? Alzheimer's has that perception where it's very difficult to help somebody, you know, with Alzheimer's. And for me to learn through coursework and mentorship of people who had worked with them before, that was one of the tougher things for me. And then getting the project started, it's with the vulnerable populations, it's difficult to get access to provide them some sort of care. So volunteering at one of like Sunshine Care, Silverado Hospice, a lot of the places around the county, it's a relatively easy process to start volunteering there. And one corporation that we're working with now is musicandmemory.org. It's with Dan Cohen, who created a film called Alive Inside, which my project was based upon. And he started doing his work just as a volunteer as well, and he made an entire 501(c) nonprofit organization off of it in a documentary film that's been viewed by millions of people. So taking that first step is a big part in that. So.
Do we have any more questions? Okay. Well, we do have a surprise. I'm sorry? Okay. I will announce it then. So we just want to extend a really deep thank you, gratitude to the Office of Senator Joel Anderson, who has created certificates of appreciation for our panelists in honor of and recognition of the amazing work that you're doing in San Diego. So just wanting to acknowledge that. And then finally, you know, so what now? What do we walk away with, you know, from here, and what do we do next? We've thrown up a couple of call to actions. We'll soon be there. But one of the things that we thought you could walk away with in terms of an easy to do is mentor a student. You'll surely have access to fellow students or younger students in your community. Volunteer with senior citizens. Support sustainable housing for our most vulnerable populations. And then attend events like this one at Cal State San Marcos and the San Diego Foundation. Center for Civic Engagement. Engage with us, engage with one another. Let's continue to do this amazing work to make this amazing place that we live even better and better for good. So with that, wanting to thank all of you for your participation today. Remember, tweet out whatever you're walking away with, your inspiration, questions, comments. Our panelists will surely also respond. And another round of applause to our panelists today, and thank you also to Cal State.